Welcome to the Intentional Awakening Podcast with your hosts, Kathy Brewer and Terry Huberman.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the Intentional Awakening Podcast. I'm Terry Huberman.
And I'm your co-host, Kathy Groover, and we're going to start every episode, as we do, with an angel card. Oh, this is my favorite thing in the world. Humor.
Oh, yes.
Humor. It's a little angel dressed like a clown, which is mildly terrifying. Humor, your built-in stress reliever. Sprinkle it liberally to lighten and widen your perspective. Let it move you out of the drama of your life.
Wah.
Which
Love
I think
it.
is incredibly important, but we're not going to talk about humor today, though we could, because we're both hilarious. We should talk about humor.
We should.
Spiritual humor. Oh boy.
Spiritual humor.
Doesn't the universe have a sense of humor? So, but today we thought we would talk about spiritual practice and what that means for you, what that means for us, how you can incorporate a more, let's say, structured spiritual practice into your life. Because as I was learning it, everybody's like, have a place and have a time and have a very structured setup, which I think is useful to a lot of people. So how do you look at spiritual practice, Terry?
Well, I think the best way to look at it is, what are you available for at any given time? Because the idea is to get out of your head. Really, that's what the idea is to kind of just go from the human to the soul, or the higher soul, or higher vibrational frequencies. That's really it. So how you get there is a very personalized process, but I find that it's best to practice or implement whatever you're going to be doing when you have more time for it, or you intentionally, on purpose, make time for it. So, which is not an easy thing in these modern times, right?
No.
Right.
Well, and I agree with you. It's interesting. I'm in a Buddhist psychology class right now, which I'm really excited about. And one of the prerequisites was doing their little quickie, it was maybe an hour, mindfulness meditation course, so that we sort of had the basis of what they were going to be talking about. And the instructor, who's fabulous, whose name I can't think of right now, he said, when doing your meditation, he recommends 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that he's often asked, when should I do it? And where should I do it? And he said, look, some people, they get up in the morning, the first thing they do is their 20 minutes of meditation. Other people find they're too rushed in the morning, so they do it at night. He said, here's the bottom line. Do it when you can.
Do it. Yeah. And that's the thing. So there's two things. One is doing it, and two is doing it consistently.
Yes.
Those are really, to me, what I think are the most important aspects of having any type of spiritual practice. Now, the way I teach, I should say, the way I teach spiritual practice to my clients, because I see very thinky, cerebral clients who deal with overwhelm and anxiety. So it's hard to sit still, right? And a lot of spiritual practice is about sitting still. Well, since I use a lot of energy, what we do is we neutralize the anxiety and the overwhelm. And that is the spiritual practice. And I have them do it for 1 minute, 3 times a day. So in total, it's 3 minutes a day. And so my clients have no excuse. Like, come on, you can do it while you're on the toilet.
Thank you. And here's what I love about that, because I've had clients that show up to my office, and one of the things I work with my clients with is time management.
Yeah.
And I had one client, she's like, well, I have to do my dance for an hour and a half a day, and I do my meditation for an hour and a half a day, and I do a mindful lunch, which is an hour. And I'm thinking, okay, that's 4 hours already.
Yeah.
And then she had to work 6 hours a day. I'm like, okay, we're up to 10 hours. Then she had like all these structured things, and she wasn't finding time for it all, obviously. And I finally said, well, can I ask you a question? I said, why do you have to meditate for an hour and a half a day, which seemed extreme to me, and do this dance practice an hour and a half a day? And she goes, well, that's how I was taught to do it. And I said, right, but you don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
I said, so what if you combine that and do 45 minutes meditation, 45 minutes of dance? Then that's 1 hour and a half chunk. And she goes, oh, I never thought to do it that way. She was looking for permission to
Yeah.
change the structure. And
Yeah.
so what I want to give all of you permission for is, sure, you were maybe taught to do this thing for half an
Yeah.
hour a day. If
Yeah.
you don't have that, I would rather see you do 10 minutes a day than get rid of the whole thing. So
Yeah.
sometimes the structure is limiting to us. And so
Yeah.
give yourself a break, give yourself some flexibility in that.
Yeah. I think, how do I say this? Because I don't want to be offensive to anybody who does any type of spiritual practice. But in the olden ways of spiritual practice is different than it is now, just because of what modernism times are, especially if you're a woman, right? Modern women are way different than non-modern women,
Yeah.
right? We just do things differently. And there's so much stress, there's so much drama, there's so much chaos, and there's so much outside noise that
Yeah.
we allow that to actually direct our lives. So if we can just say, I hear you, I see you, I know you're there, and I'm still going to implement something somehow for however long I can do it
Yep.
and for how often I can do it, that's going to be the important part because nowadays we have to get everything in. There's plenty of single moms out there who are working full time and being a
Absolutely.
mommy. Okay. How are they supposed to do this? Are they not allowed to do this? No.
Right.
It's self-care as well as spiritual connection.
Yes. Yeah.
So my main thing is I don't care how and I don't care what, you just do it.
Yep.
Even if it's 1 minute, 3 times a day, which is 3 minutes a day.
Yep.
So doing some breath work while you're on the toilet for crying out loud.
Mindfully brushing your teeth, mindfully
Mindfully
doing the
brush.
dishes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So the mindful factor is huge. And all meditation is focus on
Yep.
something. So if you're focusing on your toothbrush, guess what? There's a rhythm that you can follow.
Yep.
Right. So that's what it is. And the permission thing is a huge thing because it does tap into perfectionism. If
Yeah.
I'm not perfect, I'm not going to do it at all. And I have that tendency. Like if I
Right.
can't do it exactly. Now, there was a period in my life, and I think I actually was on, it's so funny. I remember telling you and Jason when I was a guest on your
Oh yeah.
podcast many moons ago that I was meditating for 4 hours a day. I was doing that. I had just practiced with Dr. Joe Dispenza. I
Uh-huh.
did everything. And so I was already in that segue, in that way of doing it. So it was easy at that point. You ask me now at this point in my life, there's no way I could set aside 4 hours for deep meditation.
Yeah. There's no way. I don't have that
There's
either.
no way.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like I would rather people just do something consistently than nothing at all or
Yeah.
perfect.
Well, and like you said, maybe it's a minute a couple times a day. Maybe it isn't formal meditation. Maybe it's a bath a couple times a week, or maybe it's a walk with the dog, or maybe it's when you pet your cat, you're mindfully
Yeah.
petting the cat. And it is the focus too, but it's also when the thoughts intrude, just dismiss them without judgment. Just say thinking and move on. You don't have to attach to those thoughts. And it
Yeah.
was talking about the single mom thing. I was doing a conference and I was doing my stress workshop. And this woman came up to me afterwards and she goes, oh, it would be really nice to do the self-care stuff you're talking about. I don't have time.
Mhm.
And I said, what do you have time for? And she said, nothing. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I said, you can't have time for nothing. You're taking a shower, you're brushing your teeth, you're going to the bathroom. I said, you obviously have time for something. And she goes, yeah, but I have kids. And I said, but what are you teaching your kids?
Hmm.
And she just kind of looked at me and she went, oh God. She said, I'm teaching them that they can't take care of themselves and that you have to give everything to everybody else. Oh my God. Because she said she desperately wanted to be able to take a bath. And I said, you can't take 10 minutes once a week to take a bath. You don't
You
have a
know,
friend that could watch the kids, or they're not at school, or they're not asleep, or they're not somewhere in your life. There's 10
well,
minutes.
there's also the perspective that they just are not ready.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, meditation, spiritual practice can seem scary to somebody who hasn't done it before, and someone who's not used to it, because there's a perception of how it's supposed to be.
Right.
And that's why I say drop that idea. That's where the perfectionism comes in, because you're never gonna, this is not something to succeed
No,
at.
it's a
This is
meditation
something
practice.
to participate in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the very beginning, you're not going to be able to sit still, especially if you have overwhelm or anxiety, or you just have a lot going on. You're just not going to. So
Right.
you have to show yourself some sort of compassion and kindness and say, okay, I'm going to work up to it. Now, my clients, when they first start out with me, it's 1 minute, 3 times a day. By the time they're done, it's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. And I do it differently. Mine is more somatic, and you're more aware and awake versus, quiet stillness. Some people can do quiet stillness and some people can't. No shame in the game.
Yep.
So there are different ways to meditate too, and
do it your way.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It was so funny when I studied with Adyashanti back in, when was that? December? I don't even know when I went to see him. He said, okay, everybody. And there was like maybe 180, 200 people there for his final in-person thing. And he goes, okay, let's take some time and meditate. And everybody did this. And he started to laugh and he goes, what are you all doing?
Yeah.
And we all kind of looked at him. He goes, just sit there and meditate. Like, you don't have to do anything. And he was kind of in a very, joking way, like making fun of us. And I didn't change my position. I just kind of sat there because I'm like, all right. But all these people got into their, they put their stuff down and they were ready to meditate. And he's like, just fucking meditate. Like, what are you all doing? You have to get in a position. And he was kind of making fun of us for making it this other, right?
Yeah.
And not just making it where we were. And that was such a powerful message, because we do that. We want to make it this other thing. And I get that, setting the space and going into this, concentrated, set aside. I mean, this is when I was Wiccan, we would cast the circle and we would call the quarters. It was very, very
structured, maybe.
Thank you. Very structured and very ritualized. And there's something to be said for that. And there's also something to be said for, oh, my call canceled. I have 3 minutes. I'm going to meditate, or I'm going to just be in quiet contemplation, and I think you're right. I think it's a perfectionist thing. Whoever said it's a meditation practice, not a meditation perfect. It's about
I love that.
It's about just doing it and not having to make it look a certain way. And so for those of you listening who struggle with this, who want a spiritual practice and don't know what that looks like yet, make it your own. It doesn't have to look like what I do or what Terry does or what the guy on the internet does or what the YouTube person told you. Make it your own. Just do something.
It'll be better, actually, if it's your own, because then it resonates and it connects with you. And then you're in true spiritual connection, because it is authentic. And authenticity is a much higher vibration than anything else.
Yep.
So you do you, and you do it the way you feel is right for you. You're above and beyond anything. So make it yours. And if you need permission, let Kathy and I give you permission. Just do it. Just be consistent and just do it. And you can make it feel like anything you want it to.
Yeah. I hear a lot of people say, oh, but they say you should. Okay, first of all, who's the they?
Yeah. And it's funny because I actually said that the other day. It was with my client and she's like, who's they? And I'm like, I don't know who they are, but they say to do this. And I'm like, who is they? Who are they?
And anytime we should do it a certain way, me and should, we don't want to be shoulding all over ourselves. So, all right. So we've given you permission to
do it.
To do it your way. Do it your way. Isn't that what Frank Sinatra said? No, that was do it my way. Well, that's all right.
Well, you can sing it. You can sing too for your meditation.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Vocalization. That's so good. Opening the throat chakra and it's relaxing and it's good for us. And the breath work. Yeah. Very good. Okay. We could go on for hours. All right. So give yourself permission to do it your way. Just do something. It doesn't have to be perfect. And don't listen to they.
Yeah.
Whoever they are. That's it. All right. I'm Kathy Groover. I could be reached at kathygroover.coach.
And I'm Terry Huberman. You can reach me at terryhuberman.com. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Intentional Awakening podcast. We'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah.